everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome into another edition of the Right Side of Campus. This is a sports betting show where we take a look at the day's action and more. Hope you're having a great Monday, December 2nd, 2019. We got a lot to do today. NFL recap. We'll take a look at what went on yesterday in week 13. We'll also take a look at what we have coming up next week. We got college football championship week. We'll go over rivalry week, what we saw there, and who might just be in the playoffs after next week. We'll get to all that and more, plus morning headlines. Hope you're having a good day. Donnie, how you doing?
Doing good, man. By the way, yesterday, we're going to rail on the Eagles a little bit later in the day, but I focused more on the Eagles game, was surfing around channels. But this morning, I made it a point to watch the replay of the San Francisco 49ers Baltimore Ravens game. And if you don't think they're the two best teams in football, we're just doing it all wrong. That game was phenomenal. They will meet in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all, actually. We've carried the water for the Ravens all year. I'm very proud of it. San Francisco, look, I still think the jury's out in the NFC. I still think that the Niners are really good, and I'm not going to say they aren't, but I think there's some teams that can obviously throw a wrench in things. Obviously a team like the Seahawks or maybe a team like Green Bay or something. But we still have a lot. But I think you're onto something there. It looks like we're going to get a rematch. What was that? That was the 2014 Super Bowl, 2014 Super Bowl, 15 Super Bowl.
Yeah. Kaepernick,
Kaepernick, right? Yeah. The lights went out.
Lights go out. Sure, yeah. Right. Yeah.
That was a good game, actually.
Great game.
Came down to the wire, right?
Great game. Yep.
But we're here. We're live. It is a Monday. It is a weird Monday. I'll tell you, Donnie, I said on Twitter earlier, there's no better job to have than to be a weatherman, man. You could just you could say big words and try to sound smart and say, hey, it's going to snow. Donnie, it's literally been sunny here. There's not been a fucking snowflake. But
yeah, we were supposed to get snow, but there's no real snow yet. And and I'm glad you actually brought that point up, Jeff, because there's a lot of high-powered services that give out information all throughout the week. And I know weather's a little bit fickle, right? But on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, to have a weather report, and then Sunday be completely different than what it was all week. I'm done with it, man. I'm done with it.
Yeah, it's really wild. I was expecting to wake up today and see, snow. And I actually, Donnie, went out and last night I got stuff to make my meal tonight. I didn't want to go out in the snow, but weird. What a business.
Yeah.
Saints are coming out of the NFC. Yeah, I mean, they're in there as well. I would probably say they would probably be the biggest contender outside of the Niners, but we'll get into that here in just a little bit. We do have some morning headlines to get to first, and we'll do that. But I do want to say, Donnie, how was your weekend?
It was good. I had a good weekend outside of a kicker yesterday costing me some money late last night. It was a really good weekend. I relaxed. I watched The Irishman. I actually caught The Irishman not 2 full times, but I made sure to watch a little bit of it back. And I got to tell you, as we talked off the air, I liked it even more the second time around. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, I actually haven't done the second time watching it yet, just because I was so enthralled with the first time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we continue to go down this road. I think it's one of the best films I've ever seen. I mean that. I know there's so many people that everybody has an opinion nowadays, but I think if you can appreciate movies and you appreciate how a movie's made and what it is, I think it's pretty because it's not one of those cheesy movies, Donnie, where they throw these dumb fake characters in and try to make it for what it is. I mean, it was very valid, very true, and I loved it. Donnie, also, you have Netflix, right?
I do. Yes, correct.
I need you to do this. I'm begging you. In fact,
go.
I need you to go watch Shot Caller. It is one of the most
is it
amazing.
A movie?
It's a movie.
Okay.
It is one of the most amazing films I've ever seen. I love it. I could watch it every day if I had to.
Yeah.
It is. I think it should be a requirement that every American watch it. It is so fucking amazing. It is. And it's not a long movie. It's only about 2 hours long. But Donnie, it's interesting because the guy in the movie reminds me of you. The main character reminds me of you and your situation. And you that guy is everyone. And that's what happens. And I beg you to watch it. It is so phenomenal. But let's get into the show. Morning headlines. We'll start it out. We got a lot of them today, Donnie. First of all, this one was a kind of a smaller headline, but I just wanted to bring it up. Donnie, Coach K's in the news for some comments he made over the weekend that basically they asked him about the loss of Stephen F. Austin, and that he basically blamed and kind of deflected off of the fact that he supposedly had health issues prior to the upset of Stephen F. Austin, or Stephen F. Austin upsetting them. Again, look, Coach K's a great coach. I'll never tell you he's not. I'm not his biggest fan. I think he's a guy that has obviously benefited from getting the best players, and he's done it for a long time. I won't knock him for that. I'm not knocking. I'm not trying to get into a coaching who's great and who's not kind of thing. But I mean, this is low level by him. I mean, come on. I mean, I get you have health, whatever, but you almost kind of trying to deflect that you just didn't play well. They didn't play well in the game, Donnie. It's pretty evident. They were not good. This is kind of Bush League by him.
I don't know what he was actually trying to gain or get out of that by saying it was him, because whether the coach is, underwhelming or not excited for the game, or his energy is low because he's sick, really shouldn't play into this.
Exactly.
Kids play. So.
Yeah, I don't understand. Well, how does that connect at all? It's very odd. Yeah. Shot caller storyline was far-fetched, but still a good movie. Okay. Right. It was what about it was far-fetched? You got to love some people, man. I mean, why not just admit that it was a great movie? We're always looking into, is this, how was it far-fetched? A guy commits a menial crime. Well, not a menial crime, but something that it could happen to anybody. He goes to prison and becomes a gang member. I don't understand what's far-fetched about that, Donnie. Did I?
Or how about no? And this is my favorite one that I get, talking about far-fetched and stuff. A fight scene in The Irishman that people are upset about.
Oh yeah,
and I was trying to explain to people. I was like, you do understand that
he was Drago, 40 at the time.
Yeah, Drago never hit Rocky in that big fight, and Rocky never hit Drago. It's okay. It's okay.
No, I agree. I saw people saying it was a far-fetched fake movie because how could Robert De Niro beat that guy? First of all, if you know anything about Sheeran, at that time in his life, he was in his 40s, Donnie. Okay.
But it doesn't even matter. You do understand, in that movie, people got shot, but they really didn't get shot. No,
people's issues were that they should have got younger characters to play the younger versions of those people, which would have been lame because they've done that. And
I guess The Godfather and stuff. I mean, I understand it, but it could go both ways in that. But I was the pushback on the movie. They didn't like it because of one fight scene. And I'm saying, you do understand when they throw people off buildings, the guy doesn't really go off the building.
Yeah, right. When they shoot somebody, they don't really shoot them.
Exactly.
People on fire legitimately.
Yeah, exactly. Correct. Yeah.
All right. Coach K, just kind of lame by him.
Yeah.
Donnie, Josh Shaw, Cardinals football player. This story was all real weird. I mean, basically, to this guy, Josh Shaw, he's a guy on injury reserve. Plays for the Cardinals. Hasn't played it down this year. Yeah. Low-level guy. I mean, he's not a big playmaker or anything. He was caught basically, Donnie, betting on games, NFL games. Not his own games, but he was betting on NFL games, which it's clearly, Donnie, stated. They even bring people in to teach people about don't do this.
Correct.
Okay? I love how his response was he didn't understand the Supreme Court ruling. That had any bearing. Vegas has had sports betting since the 70s, for God's sake, 60s.
Yeah, it's the same guys that would probably say, well, I smoke weed every day and it's legal in 16 states, so I don't understand why I can't smoke weed and be in the NFL.
He can't be serious to actually believe that people think he didn't know you couldn't bet on football.
Yeah, it's great.
So we're supposed to, Donnie, again, and this is what the media and what we as people now do. We belittle a law because it's a law and it's not really it's a lame law and we don't think it should be a law. So we're going to belittle. So it's kind of like saying, listen, in certain parts of the world, killing someone is honorable, or something like that. It's just a weird thing that we do now on Twitter where if we don't like the rule, we just belittle it and say, he's okay. He just shouldn't have did it. He knows the rule. You don't gamble on sports. It sucks. Maybe he should be able to when he's not even playing, but we can't have that slippery slope down. We have to say, we can't do it at all. And if you do it, And then we're comparing it to like Ray Rice. And look, I do think that's lame. I think the fact that the NFL, we even have to have the conversation of why Ray Rice gets a shorter suspension than this guy or so on. But the truth of the matter is, Donnie, what's this guy's name? Josh Shaw.
Yeah.
Josh Shaw knows you can't gamble in football. I'd love how you try to like spin it and say, well, I didn't know the rules. So
no, it's just a dumb take by him. And for credit to like, I mean, watching like local sports, like commentators, not talking about radio guys, like on TV, you know, the guys that get like the 3 minutes or the 30 seconds on like 6 ABC. There was one guy that came in and he said, he can't believe that this guy's getting suspended and it's legalized now and it's not a big deal. And like, I just go back to saying like,
it's not legal in Arizona though.
No, forget about legality. It doesn't even, legality is not even the point of it, but it's like insider trading and people that say, well, it's not really a big deal. Do you understand what you get persecuted for in real life when you do insider trading? Hey, look, we're going to merge these companies, dump your stock now. It's the same exact things. Oh, he doesn't know it. Come on. And first of all, I always love this always comes out like he doesn't really know anything. Like he doesn't know anybody in the NFL that he could pick up the phone and be like, dude, is Adam Thielen going to play this week? Bro, he hasn't even been out here on the field. Thank you. And then he bets the Minnesota Vikings, but he's not betting his own team.
The whole like, and that's a great way to put it with the insider trading thing. Look, there are a lot of crimes now that are committed that I don't know that should be penalized. You should be get in trouble for. But again, if we didn't have the laws, it would just be anarchy. Everyone would be doing things.
Yes.
Like, do I think we should get arrested for certain things? No, but there are rules and we have to follow them. It sucks, but
and even like that's your employer says you can't bet on football, bro. Bet on basketball. You can do that all day long. And he just bets on football. You should just be fired out of the league just for that. Like hey, look, you play for the Cardinals. You can't wear a Giants jersey in the game. Hey, I wore a Giants jersey. Why are they firing me? Come on, man.
I also love how they said that he used his player card, but he doesn't know anything about gambling and doesn't know anything. But he has a player's card at a casino.
Yeah, exactly. He knows nothing. And this also, keep in mind, Jeff, is the guy who said he saved a family member from drowning when he tried to escape the police and fractured both of his ankles in a domestic violence dispute. So
this guy did weirdo.
That? Yeah, that was him at USC.
Really?
Yeah, he's the guy that got suspended from USC for lying about it. But they did a whole thing like early in the season, like what a hero he was. And then it found out he was running away from the police and jumped off like a second or third story building to escape his girlfriend, who the cops were called on because he was having an escalated argument.
I've never heard about that.
Yeah, research. Yep, that's a good one. Yeah.
Interesting. Here's basically the scheme, Donnie. Don't bet on football if you play football.
Yeah, easy. Isn't it easy? Easy law?
Don't bet on baseball if you play baseball.
Hey, if I play college football, don't accept money from an agent. Pretty cut and dry, man.
Donnie, I'll be real. I've showed you. Yeah. I have minor league baseball players in my DM asking me for picks.
Sure.
I've had a couple.
Sure.
I mean, it clearly states on their thing, I play for this team, or I play for, like, they're out there doing it. Sure. Like, but you can't bet on your own shit.
No.
I've never had one of those say, hey, I play baseball. What do you think about tonight's Yankee Athletics game?
Yeah. Hey, Jeff, I'm looking to get down. I know that this pitcher's arm is about to fall off, and he probably only can go like 25 pitches tonight. Can you help me out with this? Yeah, sure. Thanks for the information.
Sure. Yeah, just a weird story. I didn't know that stuff about.
Look it up. If you Google it while we're on the show, it's the wildness, and it doesn't surprise you that it's actually this guy that got suspended.
Sure. Donnie, crazy story out of Pittsburgh. Terrelle Pryor, who, isn't something like, this isn't Josh Shaw. Terrelle Pryor is like a known guy.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen him. He's a receiver in the NFL. His girlfriend, I believe, was arrested, Donnie, after she allegedly stabbed Pryor at this Pittsburgh apartment. She was charged with attempted homicide and aggravated assault. So this is not some, minor little cut with a pencil or something. Pryor was stabbed in the shoulder and chest, and he also faces a charge of simple assault. It was a dispute with multiple combatants in an apartment on the city's north side. Donnie, a witness told police Pryor was the aggressor in the incident and was waiting for Briston as she returned home from a night of night with friends. TMZ reported that the witness said Pryor and Briston fought and it went into the kitchen, where she allegedly took a knife and stabbed Pryor. Donnie, this is simple self-defense here, if I'm thinking about this here.
Sure.
What on earth is, Donnie, why is Terrelle Pryor only getting it? This is the great thing about being famous, Donnie.
Yeah.
You start a fight with a woman, Her friends are there and see everything. It goes into your house.
Mm-hmm.
You are physically assaulting her. She takes a knife and slashes you, and she gets attempt murder charge and an ag assault charge.
Yeah.
I mean, am I missing something here on why?
You are missing the big picture of being famous, because the headline rang yesterday. Prayers, Terrelle Pryor, he got stabbed. Oh my God, somebody broke in, somebody stabbed him. Dude, this guy can't catch a break. The headline should have been like, while Terrelle Pryor was whooping a woman's ass, she stabbed him in self-defense. That should have been the headline.
Now, Dottie, here's the big kicker. Okay, this is this is where it hurts Miss Briston.
No.
One witness was overheard saying Briston was defending herself, and that quote, "We should have let him die."
It's a woman. It's a scorned woman.
Not great for her.
R. Kelly said, when a woman's fed up, man, listen to the song. You know, they're out.
Well, don't use him as an example. By the way, Donnie, what are your thoughts on the people that say? I was actually listening the other night to the radio, and "Go Get It" came on by Young Jeezy and R. Kelly.
Oh, okay.
What are your thoughts on the people that say, if you listen to R. Kelly still, you are complicit?
No, I take that out, because I still listen to Michael Jackson. I separate myself. I'm not on cancel culture where, like Peloton, my wife does it. It's a big, you know, if anybody had any issues in the past, you can't have that on your ride playlist. I mean, can you separate reality from just music and be done with it? I won't listen again. Or how would you ever watch a movie or sports ever again? Because there's bad guys all over the place. You separate yourself from reality on that. Come on, man.
So listen, at the end of the day with Briston here, I don't know how this goes through court and she actually gets convicted of attempted murder. It was clear that – now, Donnie, the problem is the only witnesses are friends of hers. So, again, those friends could be telling a different truth. Maybe – it doesn't help, Donnie, though, that it was at his house. Why was she coming to his house? What was that all about? Honestly, a very weird situation here. But this, again, goes to show you, Donnie, that if you're a professional athlete – we need to start looking for women that are like higher
caliber.
Yeah. I'm not just like
intent, for instance, like actually educated and rational.
For instance, one thing I love about, like, I'm not a big Steph Curry guy, Donnie.
Yeah.
But he did a hell of a job picking a wife, man. Hell of a job.
I don't know. I think he could have. Well,
I'm not talking about. She's a good woman, man. She's
from that aspect, yes, correct. And she has her own things going on. Yes.
Yeah, she's doing stuff. She's a great mother, and everything about Donnie. You know this. I mean, you're married. A good man can be brought out through a good woman.
Sure,
they can make a male a better person. And
stand behind him, support. Yep, sure.
I mean, a guy like Terrelle Pryor. I mean, again, I know sometimes you just mess up with the wrong chick, but I mean, you can't be putting yourself in these positions.
Yeah, but it's like when you're that, like, because the kid was given keep in mind, Jeff, Terrelle Pryor is the type of guy that instead of signing on signing day as the top recruit, waited like 3 months to extend it out as like a national parade to Oregon and Penn State and Ohio State. I don't want to put anything past this guy. And then he goes to Ohio State and breaks rules and gets kicked out anyway. So it's no surprise to me.
Yeah, just an ugly situation here. But this is definitely serious for her. I'm not really sure how how this is in self-defense personally, but there isn't really a lot of witnesses that can back up him. It's a lot of them backing up her, but I guess we'll see. Now, I'm sure there's security cameras in that apartment building.
Yeah, and by the way, this goes back to, as I like to say, time immemorial. The people out there that actually, because there were people that will say this, well, if that girl raised his hands, it's all fair game, and you can just beat on that girl. If you were raised that way, and I'm sorry, man, I don't have any time.
Donnie, I got to ask. I mean, I'm not really sure what you were getting at. What were we getting at with Steph Curry's wife? What was your issue there? I mean,
you said like he picked a great one. Like I'm trying to say, like, look, man, he could have went for the dime.
Okay, come on, stop, dude. Seriously, is that where you're going with this?
That's where I'm going, man.
12, Donnie? Come on.
You asked if he made a good pick or great pick, and I'm saying he could have improved. He could have improved.
No offense, Donnie, but I mean, we're actually still caring about looks. Let's just she's a good woman, Donnie. Come on, she's she's a nice person. She supports her husband. She's a good mother. I mean,
I'm sure Steph's got his dimes in other cities too, so he's living the perfect life of an NBA All-Star.
Yeah, I mean, you're Donnie. I think you're everything wrong with some of the culture. I mean, you claim to be a non-millennial, but some of your thought processes are a little.
No, a millennial is don't pick your wife for looks. An old school guy is go for the looks first, man. Worry about the brains.
I
later.
mean, look, I'm all for a beautiful woman, man, but it's like if she doesn't have anything, substantive, it's hard, and that's a lot of them, Donnie. A lot of beautiful women. They're too worried about what they look like and shit like that. I need some substance, man. I need something in the head. But hey, even crazy girls can be beautiful and crazy. It's very difficult to get that.
Get the perfect mesh, like hotness and brains. Yes, correct.
Correct. So yeah, if you find it, good for you. Keep it. And again, if you find a girl in a club or like. I don't know, on Instagram. Maybe you should just like James Harden. He's a good example.
Yeah.
James Harden understands what these chicks are.
Yeah.
They come over at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, he loves strip clubs. Look, I'm going to give you a couple
of
dollars here. We understand this is a business relationship. Yeah. Yes, you're right. You're
absolutely. And he doesn't wife no one up. He's just like, you know what? TMZ might say I'm with Kim Kardashian. He might say I'm with this person, but I'm not. I'm just.
There's an understanding, like Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter was the perfect. If you want an idea of how you're supposed to be a professional athlete, wine and dine these dimes all the way through. Have the expectation straight up. You're not going to post pictures of me, and we're going to date on my terms, and you're going to come over to my house on my terms. If you don't like it, get out. And then after I'm done and I'm a billionaire, I'll go marry some dime and have a family and settle down. Sure. That's the way you live your life.
Sure. And I'll marry one that's someone on my level.
Exactly.
Like Alex Rodriguez, for instance.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Yeah.
I mean, he screws around with everybody, then he finds J-Lo, and it's like, okay, perfect.
There you go. No.
Very much similar. Donnie, that's what my thoughts are on my bed. Remember I was talking about my bed, and I don't like. That's kind of how I feel. Like I don't let no chick on my bed because like I don't want them in my bed. The real one, the real chick, she'll get in my bed, but it's like I'm not giving these chicks attention that don't deserve it. Let's keep it moving here. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Terrelle Pryor. Donnie, it's safe to say we won't see him in the NFL again, right?
Probably. No, probably not. No.
After this little stunt.
Yeah.
What do you think happens? You think she gets off? She gets off, right?
I think they sort of take this out of the limelight and, you plea things down and you get a little community service and don't do it again and we never hear. Because, again, he's not going to be in the NFL, so it's not going to be a team waiting on him to clear like we just wait on Antonio Brown to get cleared. Yeah,
I think this chick's going to – I mean, a male versus a woman, I think she gets off on this one. All right, final story. Greg Schiano, Donnie, gets hired by – Rutgers, second time. Actually, well, if we would talk about the first time we thought this wasn't going to happen about a week or two ago.
Yep.
And then it became that they were bringing in talks again. They kissed and made up, and now he gets a 8-year contract. 8 year.
It's very rare that a head coach knows his angle and because everybody wants to be a Division I football coach. They get paid. It's a Power 5. But Rutgers really only had one hire, and they knew they only had one hire. They tried to play a little bit of hardball and lost, and then figured whatever support they had around the program, some of the bigger donors to the university said, we're done, we're out as well. And when money starts to talk, you get back to the table and you make it happen. But it's really rare in this day and age that one coach knows he's this team's only option. Almost similar to like what Scott Frost went from, Jeff, from UCF to Nebraska. Scott Frost knew that Nebraska's about to fall off the cliff. Now, whether they get back or not, he knew that and said, you know what? If you want me, you're going to have to pay me. You're going to meet every single one of my demands or your football program is going to be on the outs. That's what he had in this. It's crazy.
We'll see, Donnie. Obviously, Rutgers will improve. It's hard to be any worse. But again, I would like to see Rutgers kind of move out of the Big Ten and everything. But, hey, they're not going to. Money's there.
Rutgers isn't going to move out of the Big Ten. The Big Ten would have to move Rutgers out of the Big Ten because they're stealing money as is. But it's just nice to see. And it's not so much that when you're a big-time university, you're in the Big Ten, they're a great academic university. We get that. But you don't want the embarrassment because your football team is your flagship program. If Greg Schiano just comes back, Jeff, and can win a few games a year in the Big Ten and be competitive, that's all they want out of this, and I think they can get that.
Couple other thoughts, Donnie. We have some coaches that were fired over the weekend. Matt Luke was relieved of his duties against Ole Miss at Ole Miss. That was pretty much a thought that we knew would happen. Chad Morris, he was fired a few weeks ago. Charlie Strong was fired over the weekend. I thought that was a bit surprising. I don't really know what South Florida expects to be.
Yes.
Charlie Strong's done, I think, some pretty good things there, to be real honest. Steve Adazio, Donnie, was fired by the Boston College Eagles. Wouldn't mind that, Donnie. I've heard some conflicting reports that the Eagles might be interested in Steve Adazio. I've heard that. I don't know how true that is or why they would do that. A couple other ones on a UTSA relieved Frank Wilson of duties, and Bobby Wilder, who had a good bowl run a couple years ago. I guess I don't understand what does Old Dominion think their program is either.
That's what you're saying, Jeff, is right up my alley. Is what I want to say. Like outside of Ole Miss in the SEC, you're just in an arms race.
But Donnie, one other one, Barry Odom was fired as well from Missouri, which odd as well. I thought he was a pretty good coach there. I don't know what Missouri expects to be either, but go ahead.
Yeah, like I'll take the SEC firings out because it's always going to be an arms race, and that's your football in the South is big. I get that, but let's revisit some of these other ones. BC, look, and let's say this again. This isn't 1975, 1980. This is present day where everything is evolved, where you're either all in on football or you're out. Steve Adazio getting fired. What do you want? So BC is going to say we're going to move on, and we want to compete for national championships. Like, what does BC expect? And then moving to South Florida, Jeff, right? Like Charlie Strong, he's a big name head football coach. He's going to be able to recruit. They're going to have their ups and downs. USF, what do you actually want out of your football program? Do you actually think that you're going to be challenging to get into the college? I don't understand. If you are these lower level teams outside of the majority blue bloods, if your coach keeps you competitive and doesn't embarrass your university and maybe goes to a bowl every other year, what more do you want, Jeff? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a good point. I don't get it. I guess, the goal is to be like a Navy type of team if you're one of those smaller teams or some team that's always.
Like, what are you getting financially out of it? Like, Navy is the United States program, and yes, it's a flagship. And I root for but you're not making a ton of you're not going to national championships, which means you're not going to getting the big paydays. And chances are these lower level teams don't have massive boosters. And is there a guy at BC that's saying, "Look, I'm going to donate $30 million. I want to." A playoff football team. Like, what are we talking about with these small schools? Miami's on the cusp of falling off the map completely, and it's understandable. Like, you can't. This isn't the 80s and the 90s anymore with Miami, where kids just go there because they want to make the NFL. There's so many other blue blood programs that do it much bigger with bigger donors and bigger boosters. What do you want? Unless you're blue bloods, you're out.
And you're also not going to strike it hot like a San Diego State did, where they had two programs, particularly basketball and football, that just hit it at the right time, and they've been able to kind of keep it going. For Boise State did it. That's pretty much a dime and a dozen. I bet USF rehires Willie Taggart. They ain't going to do that. Also, Danny, there was conflicting reports that Clay Helton was fired at USC.
Yeah, there was. I like to retweet some of that stuff when it breaks. And I saw an account that wasn't like a check mark. I'm like, I'm not retweeting that. Of course it wasn't.
Yeah, true. But then Sports Illustrated reported it.
Oh, is it true then? Is it out?
No, it is not true.
This guy's been fired more times than anybody and still has his job.
Pete Thamel tweeted out, just spoke to multiple USC sources. This is not right. And USC people are rightfully steamed.
Yes.
I guess we'll see what happens there.
Now let's look at USC, right? So we're supposed to be competing for national championships. Ever since Pete, they really haven't done that. So what do you expect? Is USC supposed to be 11-1? You caught lightning in a bottle with an unbelievable head coach, and you caught the West Coast by storm, and you won every recruiting battle, even nationally. Some monster recruits that you've gotten. That's no longer anymore. What's your expectation for USC now? You know what I mean? Like, what is it?
One other thing on college football: would you fire Jim Harbaugh?
To be honest with you, I think he makes too much money. But no, you are Michigan. If you win 9 games a year, be happy. Yeah. You're an academic school. You're not a football factory. Just be happy.
A basketball school.
Correct.
That's what I was saying with Ryan. My friend Ryan, he's a big Michigan fan. And, constantly he's putting them in the same conversation as a big football school. And it's like, you're not that. But I feel like if you're Michigan, you gotta move on. I just you can get something where it's maybe you can get back into the. I mean, they are in the discussion every year. They don't ever do anything, but
The hard part is though, like you're on such an upward because you have decent football teams. Like Minnesota's decent, Wisconsin's decent, Penn State's
but
decent.
Donnie,
But
Penn
you're not
State
going
and
to.
Minnesota are better programs of the last 10 years than Michigan is.
I don't know about that.
They are
10 years. I mean, they haven't really won. Nobody's really won anything, though.
Right, but they've had better trajectories than that team.
But when
Wisconsin and Penn State are both.
But that should be what you strive like Michigan, Wisconsin, Penn State. I think we can lump them into that same category. They can't if they want to measure, so you got to measure yourself against Wisconsin and Penn State. You shouldn't be measuring yourself against Ohio State. And I think that's what Ohio like. Again, 70s and 80s. Oh, it's a lot of fun. 90s, it's fun. It's clear that one school values football way more than the other. And you got to take your hat out of the ring and say, the big game, it's not a rivalry anymore. They're way better because they get way better players and will continue to do so. Measure yourself against the Penn States of the world, the Wisconsins of the world. And you say, you know what? Harbaugh's not really a bad coach.
I think they need new blood personally, but
I would love to see new blood and some badass coach get in there. But it's Jeff. You got to remember also at Michigan, they want a Michigan man to lead them.
Of course, dumb. Yeah. Then bring in Braylon Edwards or something. Hey, let me ask you.
Outside. Yeah, go ahead.
D'Amico said he wouldn't do this, which I thought he was nuts.
Go.
Let's say Matt Rule was available.
Yeah.
Would you rather have him over Harbaugh?
Yeah, of course.
D'Amico said no.
Because you know what? Because Matt Rule is not a Michigan man.
That's crazy.
That's
neither is D'Amico.
Yep, that's
D'Amico ain't a fucking Michigan man either.
They tell him that. Like, you're crazy. Like, to me, like, you're going to get very few. Like, how Urban Meyer's floating out there. Who wouldn't want? I think he's a scumbag. But if you're a football fan and he comes to your school, you're going to be a pretty good football power. There's very few people out there that if you went over like, Nick Saban's of the world and, that level, Dabo Sweeney, to be honest, Jeff, I got like Matt Rule like number 3, man. I swear to God. I swear to God, I do.
I've said it for years, and I know you have as well. He's a great fucking coach, man. Master motivator, great X and O guy. He's terrific. I love Matt Rule, man. I agree 100%. And Donnie, you know how you feel about Matt Rule?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Tony Bennett and like Jay Wright. Yeah. I think they're so terrific as far as their minds and the way. Donnie, it's so hard to get a kid nowadays to play defense in basketball.
Yep.
And those guys just get them to purely play it at the highest level.
Like, hey, buddy, you scored 40 in high school. You're going to come here. We barely score 40 a game. You're going to buy into this team concept. And they're like, okay, that's a great coach.
Dog, they held a team. They held Maine on. Did you see that?
Yes, man. They look like football scores, man.
The Villanova football team probably scored more points combined.
Yep.
By the way, Tom Herman, happy trails to Todd Orlando. Thank God.
Yeah.
And you know what's sad? Todd Orlando will go out and get another fucking job.
Yep,
Todd Orlando fucking sucks. He's a horrible coach. He has stolen money from Houston and Texas University. Then he was getting paid millions of dollars to coach defense, and every year they were bottom.
He's just a big name assistant coach, and he demands a big cash payment. And again, you're at Texas. You get the cream of the crop. Do something with it, man, please.
Horrible. What a loser. What a loser. Todd Orlando has been and good for Texas. They needed a shakeup down there. Coordinators have been horrific. Herman, I think, is a good director of the program, but they need to go out and get some big-time coaches as assistant coaches and coordinators there. Texas is missing a lot right now. And Donnie, is football better with USC relevant? I think
yes, of course it is, because there's such a void on the West Coast, and like in your heyday, even like I want to say like growing up through high school and early stages of life, those USC teams with Pete Carroll, with all the shine they had and the superstar studs, you wanted to take them on. It's way better when USC is, because the West Coast is sort of devoid now. Like, all right, like Washington's are good every once in a while. Oregon's a fun team because of uniforms, and every once in a while they'll catch lightning. But for that decade that like Pete Carroll was there at USC, they were so much fun, man.
You know who's going to be real fucking good next year?
Who?
Arizona State.
Bringing in Hugh Jackson, Jeff.
Everybody's back. Eno's back. Daniels, the quarterback's back. What did you think of Leach's comments?
Which ones?
Basically jumping on the reporter for asking him about. Well, I didn't really mind
Oh
that.
yeah, what did he say? Go ahead. Yeah, because
Basically,
when you say it, I know what it is.
His comments were basically that the reporter doesn't give him a fair shake and just hates Washington State. And
when he was asking about like why can't they beat Washington?
Yeah, and he was blaming like recruiting classes and just kind of that.
They did it to Jim Harbaugh too.
Yeah. I mean, good for them. The reporters asking the question. They do it to Peterson all the time too. But Mike Leach, at some point, Mike Leach has to start winning games, and he's a lot like.
Yeah, but what do you want to like? He should be a lifer at Washington State,
Probably.
and for like the administration, Jeff should say, dude, here's your blank check. Number one, you go viral every week. Everybody loves you. We're on the Palouse on the opposite side where everybody lives. We have this dinky-ass stadium. You're the only reason why people even talk about Washington State football. And you win games and get us to bowl games, and every once in a while pop that 10-11 win season. They should be printing money at his feet saying, Mike, please don't leave us, man. I can imagine like a boost, like maybe it's time to move on from Mike Lee. Who are you, Washington State? Nobody.
Yeah. No, they were nobodies until he got there.
Phew.
Would you bring Art Browse to Texas?
He's got way. I mean, as a coach, yes, but he's just a scumbag, though. How can you do that with your administration and stuff?
Just asking.
Jeez.
All right, let's move on to the NFL. We got a lot going on. We'll get to the game tonight, which is going to be a good one. Minnesota and Seattle. We'll break that down in just a second. Couple storylines from yesterday, Donnie. It's time to move on from Ron Rivera. We've got to move on from Ron Rivera. It just has to happen. Disgraceful yesterday, Donnie. That was the second most disgraceful loss yesterday. Carolina, who I got to give it to them, Donnie. They haven't went back to Cam Newton, which is interesting. They continue to stick with Kyle Allen.
Well, he's on IR. He can't.
Is he on IR?
Yeah, he's
What did
done
I think he was? No,
they IR'd him. Yeah.
Okay, my fault. Why did I think he was back? I was wondering, like, why is Cam Newton not playing?
Yeah, now he's back in the picture for next year, right? Cam's like, yeah, hi, you want to get rid of me and my $20 million? Look, good luck.
Well, they screwed up, Donnie, down there because they should have hired Sean McDermott as their coach.
Eagles didn't even want to give McDermott a.
Yeah, they both screwed up.
No, I can't get. But we're gonna get mad at them. But we do have a Super Bowl.
No, don't even give him a fucking pass, Donnie.
Come on, he's Jeff. He's not getting. We're not going to get into it yet. But he's not getting a pass. I'm saying.
Let me get into Rivera real quick.
Yes, go.
It's time to move on from him, right? The cupboard is bare down there. You have a great player, McCaffrey.
You can only listen to one voice for so goddamn long, and it's not paying. Like you had your crescendo, right? You went to the Super Bowl, and now you're not going to Super Bowls. Yes,
he's very Marvin Lewis-esque. The only good thing about him was he did get to the Super Bowl. Marvin Lewis didn't.
He's a great human. He's a great guy. I'm sure he loves his team. He'll fit in and make a ton of money as a coordinator, but they got to move on.
He's like Jim Caldwell. Like Jim Caldwell was like always like a very average coach. He always made kind of dumb decisions, but
flash every once in a while with a team. Yeah, I get you.
I wouldn't mind Ron Rivera in this town as far as a coordinator.
I'll tell you, look, Ron Rivera. Look at those Andy Reid coaching staffs in Philadelphia, man. Good Lord. And, of course, the only guy that hasn't really won anything is Andy Reid.
It's so true. Jesus, people forget John Harbaugh.
That whole staff, John Harbaugh. Look at all the coaches. Like
Jim
Shermer
Johnson.
Stinks, and Jim Johnson was there. Thank God Jim Johnson never left.
Spags
was there as a head coach. Shermer. Who else was there? Leslie Frazier was on that staff. Ron Rivera was on that staff.
Childress.
John Gruden. Was John Gruden on Andy Reid's staff?
Yeah, right in the beginning.
No, I don't. He might have been Ray Rhodes' guy.
He was with him in Green Bay, I think.
He was there. Unbelievable, and that he still hasn't won yet, Big Red.
Yeah, remember, John Harbaugh was a special teams coach here in Philadelphia.
Yes, he was. Absolutely, he was.
But yeah, Rivera's got to go. That's a rough loss yesterday to the Redskins.
And McDermott was there, Jeff. Let McDermott go.
Yeah. They've got to look elsewhere. It's time to get young. Trying to kind of put some new blood in there in Carolina. That'll be fun though with McCaffrey. They continue though to drive him into the ground. He plays a ton, man. But that's a bad loss yesterday. Donnie, the Eagles, who look, we've talked about. We've talked about the issues this team has. There are a lot of them. Yesterday was. You've been a longer Eagle fan than me. We've both been an Eagle fan for 25 plus years each. Outside of some of those playoff runs in the early 2000s where you would just you were drained because they lost. Yesterday to me was the worst I felt in a game in some like that was a disgrace yesterday. Disgrace. And I'm not going to be the guy that was like, yeah, I told you so. But Donnie, this team is so fundamentally flawed, and they have so many problems that it really wasn't that surprising when I looked at it and I said, well, okay, it is the Dolphins, and it is, they did have obviously Dallas losing, so that should be obviously a big pick me up. But as I start to look at this staff and I look at everything, we can't continue to give Peterson a pass, Donnie. We can't. He's been horrific this season. And last year, we papered over the cracks because they went to the playoffs. But, Donnie, since DeFilippo and Reich have left, Doug Peterson has been a massive failure in this town. And the press conferences aren't doing him any justice. You do this a lot too, Donnie. You always deflect on, well, I played football. So Doug did that today in the press conference. He basically deflected it with a comment where someone asked him about the game, and he goes, well, you never played the sport. So when you play the sport, it's just getting tiring, man. Really tiring.
No, it does get tiring. But if you look at the game, and again, I preface this by saying the Super Bowl really mellowed me as an Eagles fan because
That's
I waited.
The problem.
You're right. I waited so long for it. And I joke with my wife, and it's actually kind of true. Like, my circle of life is complete. Married my dream girl, had a beautiful kid that's healthy, doing a job I love. And the only thing I needed for the rest of my life was an Eagles Super Bowl victory, and I got it. So yesterday, Jeff, I didn't even yell and scream. I just watched it play out, and I basically had like the old man mad. It's like, hey, the Dolphins made a lot of plays, and there's still football to be played, and they can make the playoffs. Yeah, I got to tell you, that's my outlook since the Eagles won a Super Bowl. I got to tell you.
I think you're totally right with the fans where they just give the Eagles a pass because they do it with the Sixers. Even though the Sixers haven't won fucking jack shit. Sixers players get a pass all the time. Yeah. But these players, Donnie, that's how they think too. It's pretty evident. They went into that game yesterday thinking the Dolphins were just going to fucking sit there and get beaten up. Yep. Problem is, the Dolphins punch back.
I got to tell you something about the team. Like, I thought the offense was fine yesterday. Wentz's only turnover was that deep, Hail Mary. Yeah, I actually didn't have a problem with the offense. I don't care. Oh, you should have run the ball more than 19 times. You had a 14-point lead in that football game. I wouldn't mind next year, Jeff, if they told every single person in the secondary, like, guys, you have zero fucking ball skills. You're all gone. Malcolm Jenkins, get the fuck out of here. Rodney McLeod, get the fuck out of here. Any cornerback we have, leave. We're going to open up that. We're going to have a lot of money to spend in the secondary. And you know what's actually kind of refreshing, Jeff? I'm tired of watching other teams where wide receivers make one-on-one plays. But you know what I start to factor in saying, well, maybe it's our cornerbacks that every week just let the other team make one-on-one plays. Devontae Parker, who probably is like, I'm going to make a business decision and hopefully I don't get hurt and I could be a free agent next year. The guy made every single and you're talking about guys, Jeff, like Darby, that were right there, like the hand right here to make a play and they couldn't do it. Just everybody leave in the secondary. Everybody.
They're not good enough at all. And another guy that needs to get fucking canned?
Who?
Corey Unlin. See ya. Take it easy.
But the whole I don't know if it's the defensive philosophy. You're going to get burned in games, right? And they have the Eagles that have a couple straight weeks of 17, 17, 17. So you go into the game yesterday versus the Dolphins and you say, what? We know Fitzpatrick getting hot. He can have a miracle game, which he had yesterday, but you still should win the game because you know why, Jeff? He shouldn't have a miracle game because you should obliterate their offensive line. You should have a secondary that says, all right, Devontae Parker is your only wideout. Like, that's the whole knowledge because you saw the game started right in the first quarter. Fitzpatrick was on his ass every other play. I'm like, wow, this is going to be fun. And then the pass rush disappears and they get annihilated.
There's no one in that defense that I mean, outside of maybe Fletcher Cox, I wouldn't. None of them are worthy. None of them. They all stink. The linebackers suck. Bradham's brutal. Gary's shouldn't even be on the team.
Like, how many big plays? Like, Jeff, look at the first quarter, right? It's 10-0 Eagles. They're dominating. It's 4th and 5 from midfield. They throw a jump ball where Darby is right there. If he knocks that away, the Eagles probably blow the doors off the Dolphins. But you keep giving a bad team life. You take a 14-point lead early in the third quarter. You get one stop, Jeff, on the next drive, the game's over. And they couldn't do it. Man.
And I'm also going to say something right now, Donnie. I mean, listen, Brandon Graham's a great guy, good player. He's been good. He's never been. I mean, he's not worthy of the money they've given him. He's never had a year of double-digit sacks. He's a good player, but he's not your number one pass rusher. I mean, Donnie, we knew all season this defensive line didn't have enough pass rushers. It was fucking evident.
Actually, it's the pass rush is I don't know where it went yesterday, but the pass rush has been decent all year. But for most
part, no, I don't agree with that. I mean, it sucks you've had injuries, Malik Jack, but I mean, Donnie, outside of Curry or Brandon Graham and Barnett, I mean, what the hell do you have there rushing a passer? We're focusing on Vinny Curry, and I'm sick of the retread crap. Yeah. Stop bringing people back. You cut already. Stop.
Or the whole part is like you watch other football teams because that's the only way you can measure like what you have and what you don't have. And I'm fine with the defensive line, but you know what's really cool around the league, Jeff? When somebody brings a blitz and a linebacker is screaming in there, disrupting the quarterback. Has a blitz ever worked for the Eagles? Like, has it ever? Like, did you come? Like, even when we had Michael Kendricks, like he was a dumb linebacker, but the one thing he could do is if you asked him to blitz, he would get in the backfield and harass somebody. Not Grugier Hill, and you know it's funny. Grugier Hill went down yesterday, Jeff, and I was actually good.
He's a special teams guy. That's all he is. He's Ike Reese. That's all he is.
Man, Ike Reese is way better than that guy, man. Don't disrespect Ike Reese.
No, but it's a similar player.
Like his role, like if we need your linebacker for a player to get in there. But you remember over the summer, Jeff, like they were painting Grugier Hill's injury like, Jesus Christ, we just lost Mike Singletary.
Yeah. You're right. Ray Lewis is out. Yeah. Yeah, they're. I don't even know how you fix this though. They have a lot of issues, man.
Like Jordan Hicks got injured all the time, but at least the kid made some plays every once in a while, man.
Not cut him though. We don't need him.
No, he's too much money. Too much money.
Oh yeah. We'll patchwork it. We'll figure it out. That's their motto with everything. We'll figure it out. That's what they always say. Doug Peterson doesn't have a fucking clue. Okay, he doesn't. He got scapegoated and won a Super Bowl because he had Frank Reich and DiFilippo there. It's kind of like Andy Reid. They would always get to the Super Bowl and get to the NFC title game because of Jim Johnson. Andy Reid, but Andy Reid's a 10-time better coach than this guy.
Yeah.
This guy, but let me ask you, Donnie, how long does he won a Super Bowl in 2017 get him? How far does that go?
I think it gets him a while. I really do because I think
wild.
I think it's kind of interesting with the Eagles as is like the ownership with Jeffrey Lurie has been very good. He's always open pocket and he'll talk, and the organization seems to run like a streamlined process outside of Chip Kelly, who just threw a wrench into everything. But I actually think he has a little Jerry Jones in him, not because he's overbearing or picks players, but because he has a guy in Doug Peterson that he can go talk to that won't be like, you're the owner. Get out of my office. You know what I mean? Like that type of aspect. Like he couldn't go into Chip Kelly's office. Hey, Chip, what do you think about this game? Look, I'm trying to work here, Jeff. You need to leave. Like Doug Peterson's like, hey, come on in. Let's go out for a pizza tonight and talk about the game plan. Like Doug Peterson would do that. Correct, yes. Hey, you want to meet for lunch and talk about this new player? Sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Roseman gone and Doug.
No, you know what's funny about that? You need a real foot. I think Howie Roseman is an absolute wizard with the salary cap, and you always need that guy. He's just as important as a GM.
Would you?
I just wish you could hit on like players. I feel like if you just left it up to the fans, like just the first round draft pick. If you just let the fans pick the first round draft pick, they would have more success than general managers. I honestly believe that.
Even the Dolphins have like Devontae Parker and like guys that can get open and make plays. I mean, this team has Mac Hollins, who, Donnie, by the way, Mac Hollins hasn't caught a pass in 5 weeks.
Yeah, no, he's come and he blocked somebody in the back on a first down yesterday.
It's crazy. Yeah. One more question. If you were Eagles ownership and whoever makes these decisions, and they basically said, okay, listen, Donnie, you can fire Doug Peterson and go out and get who you want to get. So you want to get Lincoln Riley, you want to get whoever.
Yeah.
Would you do that? I mean, you've got to see, Donnie, Doug Peterson doesn't know what.
No. Yeah, but there's a lot still to be determined because the NFL and you can win games, they're not out of it. So you can't do that. Now, if you say
they are, though, per se.
But hold on. If you say, here's how the season trajectory is going to be, and you just wanted to make it through, you have an easy schedule and head down the stretch. Now, they lose like the Giants on Monday night and then the Cowboys blow them out. You really got a fire that you have to put out because you still have to listen to your fans because they're the ones buying the seats. But if the Eagles play and make the playoffs, they're not getting rid of them because you win the Super Bowl, then you win a playoff game, then you make the playoffs and lose. There's sort of a delineation where, look, you still got to win next year. But if they go down in flames, like, dude, you lost to the Dolphins, you lost to the Giants, and then Dallas blew you out, that's a tough one, man. That's tough.
I think we're sure. I thought we sure to get to yesterday. There's no skate. I mean, Doug, you got to make some personnel moves. You got to do something here. But they've got a lot to do, Donnie, in the offseason. I don't know how you have enough cap space to do it. I don't think you have enough draft pick. And I'd
They have like 9 draft picks, Jeff. That means more than people on the field.
I'd much rather see them lose the rest of the games to get a better draft pick. I would be good with that.
Nah, give me that. Come on, man. You wouldn't love to line up against Dallas where it meant something and smack them in the head. Stop.
No.
Yes, you would.
Well, you would because you thought they would win by double digits yesterday. But
so did you.
No, I did not.
I got a tweet from you that said if this team doesn't win by double digits today.
I said they should. And then I followed it up with, but they're fundamentally flawed and fucked, so they probably won't.
They got a 14. I still can't believe
Donnie,
they lost.
They defy every logic thing possible.
By the way, if you had like a ticker on this game that said like things that should happen and shouldn't happen, like to be honest, the Dolphins made every single play you needed to make. It was amazing to watch.
Because they're playing the Eagles. The Eagles are mentally weak. Donnie.
4th down conversions, 3rd down and 20s, jump balls, crazy, awesome goal line quarterback snapper flips to a touchdown to a punter.
Donnie, I relate a lot to Arsenal Fan TV, right? Because I remember one comment one of the guys made one time about they're always losing games they should win, right? How it's amazing how it always happens. Yeah. It's always us, no one else. Yep. And one of the guys says, he goes, "Who did it happen against?" "Oh yeah, us, the mentally weak." And I always think about that, and I'm like, you know what? Like, that's so true with the Eagles. Like, none of the shit that happened to them would happen to any other team. Yeah. But it continuously always happens here. We never have a receiver. We never have corners. We
Like Green Bay hasn't won a title in a while, and they should have way more Super Bowls. So you could say like Aaron Rodgers has been a little bit of a letdown, but just based on overall team performance. But yesterday was like the perfect game, right? They go into the Meadowlands. It's snowing. They're playing a bad team. Like, oh, well, it's going to equal out because the snow. Like, they hammered the Giants yesterday because that's what you're supposed to do against shit teams.
Books got beat up in that game, man.
What, they were going for the Giants?
No, everyone had the Packers.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
everyone had. It was 90% of the tickets and money were on the Packers yesterday. Donnie, before we get to the rest of the NFL, do you need a new book or want to add one? BetOnline has you covered. It's time, Donnie. We have basketball in full force right now. NFL playoffs, college football Final Four. You still want to bet on Joe Burrow to win the Heisman? You can. You can lay $1,300 to win $100, but you can do it at betonline.ag. If you need a book, you want to grab one, take it from me, take it from Donnie. There's no better book offshore than BetOnline.
No, it's a great one. It's great. They do a lot of things right, and I guess the only thing I always get a little bit upset with BetOnline is the team totals don't come out late. But if you want games, here's the point of contact here with BetOnline, which is why it's awesome. When you say to yourself, I wonder what that line is. It's really early in the week. You know who has that line first? Like, I wonder what the SEC title game line is. You know where you check first, Jeff? BetOnline.
That's what most originators. I mean, they are the originator.
Yes.
They had NFL lines for this coming week last night.
Always.
You want to get early lines. You want easy payouts. You want Bitcoin deposits and withdrawals. They got you covered. Go check out our friends at betonline.ag. There is a link in our description below. You can take a look at it and get signed up. Take it from me. You want to add a book that'll help you. You add to your arsenal. Make sure you use BetOnline. And also, if you like horse racing, you want to get into horse racing, BetOnline has a great race book. They have most of the tracks, Donnie, you can get daily racing forms. I know you use BetOnline when we're doing little horse stuff. You get info on a horse. They tell you who thinks is going to win or what. BetOnline's the best. Go check them out now because you can.
By the way, Jeff, interesting news coming up. Press release. Peterson steps down. This is what now, not Doug Peterson. No, this is Washington football.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Doug.
So Chris Peterson steps down. But by the way, thank God for Twitter. I'm getting older up in my years, so I still have fun, and I love dumb comments. Sometimes really keep me going. Like, man, this is fun to talk about. Like, there was a couple that we had this morning. One was, and I'm going to read it to you here. I want to listen to your thoughts on the NFL game tonight. How can I bypass the other 55 minutes? And one of my favorites, which I'm paying attention to the show, but I just scrolled through after I saw the Chris Peterson thing. And one says, what time is the show? And you write back, it clearly says now. Like, do people read anymore?
No.
How
Nobody
this
reads.
goes the same time every day, but that's a fan. That actually is the one where you're doing the Bet Online read there. I was actually laughing because I'm saying like, what time is the show? And it actually says like now. Like
Well, it does, and it's. I mean, we've done this show for about like 3 months now, at the same time every day. So it's.
That's fantastic, man. I got to tell you, like Twitter keeps me young, man. Like stuff like that is like, and then the guy says like, "Why are you getting so angry at this tweet? Like, what kind of tweet is that? Like, I don't want to watch the show. What time can I just tune in for the pick?" And of course I go, well, they don't watch it all, and you say agreed.
Yeah, that
and
guy.
they get
But that
upset
guy, he whines all the time.
No, but I'm saying like that's like what was wrong with the tweet I sent you? Like, hey guys, like your football team stinks, but when can I get an autograph? Like, wait a second.
I always love it too when people say like, "Why are you getting so pissed off?" It's like I'm not. I'm just responding to your dumbass tweet.
Well, what time's the right side of campus today? Well, number one, it's the same time every day, and this actually says it's on right now.
I got a good one while we were waiting there as well. Some guy just comments and goes, "Imagine losing to the Dolphins." Bah, ha, 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 ha. I know, it's embarrassing.
Well, how are we going to get up? I would never go. How would my background, Jeff? Yeah, I didn't take down all my Eagle stuff. I mean, come on, man.
Exactly.
It's like I'm going to stop on, man.
Big man, would you rather have Carson Wentz or Dak Prescott? Look, I think Carson's a great quarterback. I think Carson is unfortunately just doesn't have a ton to work with. I know I'm maybe making excuses for him, but look, he's made, and I will admit, has not been good at times this season. And frankly, against Seattle, and even yesterday at times, he didn't look good at all. But
you need like as long as you have a quarterback that can give you a shot, which he can, I don't mind. Same thing with Dak Prescott. Like I'm not the type of guy that's like, oh, Dak does have outrageous weapons, but do I think Dak can win? Yeah, I do.
We also have in this town, unfortunately, Donovan McNabb was not a beneficial factor of it. Donovan McNabb, we never really could see how he was as a quarterback because he never really had anyone to throw to.
Yeah, but here's the thing about McNabb, which, again, you're right. We screamed for a decade, not a decade, but it seems like a decade.
But Donovan was.
Get him some wide receivers. And Andy Reid, no, we don't need a number one in this offense. Then they finally get a number one who's a Ferrari, and you blister through the league. But also you have to remember with McNabb, not always in T.O.'s corner. T.O.'s crazy, and they both work together well. And T.O. said, hey, I need you to stand by me on this. And he looked the other way. Like, that's McNabb, though. So he did a lot to himself as well.
I think Carson's a good quarterback. I think it'll be fine. He's the only, I think, gleaming light on this team, to be real honest with you. Carson's going to get a pass because he doesn't. Now, look, Donnie, if you go out and get Devontae Parker and Judy, and next year Carson Wentz is very average, then yeah, I guess we could. But here's the thing. They just gave Carson Wentz a huge contract. They moved up in the draft to take Carson Wentz. It's not Carson Wentz is not the fucking issue.
No, he's not. No.
Okay. Has he been good at times this year? No. He was bad against the Seahawks.
And he didn't have anybody. Like did he play well enough to win yesterday? Absolutely.
And we have to remember in that Seahawks game, his best receiver was fucking Greg Ward, for God's sakes. Give me some Browns feedback. I love how you roast Baker. I don't roast Baker anymore. I don't have any reason to roast Baker. I think Baker Mayfield has personal issues that we're not really seeing.
Yeah, and he ain't ready for prime time. Neither is that whole organization. So.
And as far as them yesterday, I had the Steelers. I know you did as well. Yeah. So, Donnie, I mean, I know you're not a Mike Tomlin guy, but I mean, come on, dude. This guy's the coach of the year, arguably. I mean,
it was nice. He did a good. He did a nice job. And you know what? Like, here's the thing that I was saying, and some Cleveland Brown fans were coming out of the woodwork yesterday, which I couldn't understand because my whole concept was your diva wide receivers with your revenge shirts, and you're a coach that goes out on a Friday night. And my favorite part is there were people on some pundits on ESPN sticking up saying, "Well, he didn't wear it like to the game." The dude wore a shirt out to the movies in public, praying somebody would take a picture with him of the Steelers started it. What head coach actually does that? And you saw the Steelers after the game going, look, leave it up to the players to do stuff like that. But if your head coach is setting the tone, what did you expect out of that football game?
He's a loser, man, Freddie Kitchens. I mean,
talk really. All that smart shit in the offseason, too. Like he was somebody and like, look what we did last year. And, we're the Browns who never won anything. And what a flame ship that is, man. That's going down in.
Donnie, it's so funny over the weekend when I put out picks, and I know you like everyone has different things they do with picks. Like when I put out a pick, I put out an audio analysis with the pick, right?
Yeah.
And I remember in my breakdown, I made the point for me taking the Steelers yesterday was I love Tomlin as a motivator.
Yeah.
I love that defense. I knew that at home he would have them ready to go in that game yesterday. I thought Hodges was an improvement over Mason Rudolph.
He is.
I like this Snell move. I think Snell's a good running back. You're not going to have Connor, but Snell's a good player. They're better in the trenches than the Browns are. It's pretty simple. And I remember one of the people hit me up and they said, "Well, you would still make this pick with Juju out and I said, "Dude, not for nothing. I would love those guys to play, but for me, it was only about the mentally weak Browns against a really smart Steeler team that's not going to beat themselves. They're going to play great defense. They're not going to make stupid decisions in the red zone. They're just going to be a better team, and they were yesterday. And I was proud of that. I think that Tomlin does he have the best talent? No. But they're really good in the trenches. They play great defense. They have a really solid kicking game and a quarterback that is just going to be a good enough player. And that's what he's been. And they seem to be around the kid.
And that was impressive yesterday. It was impressive because you get that. And don't forget the fact that they got down 10-0 as well, which you could go off the rails with a young quarterback. And he even made an awful decision late in that football game on that deep interception. But when you can rely on a defense, that's a top 5 defense in the league that can get after the quarterback. The Browns took over at the 30, Jeff. They wound up at the 40 and had the punt. That's how you win football games, and kudos to them.
Great comment here, Donnie. Nick Foles would step right in and get the
he looks awesome.
Yeah, because he wasn't benched yesterday, by the way. I booed off the field. Yeah. Listen, I love Nick, but stop. Okay, please. Nick's a great player. Listen, he'll never buy a meal in this town again. I think he's the greatest Eagles quarterback in history. But
I got a quick buy or sell for Nick Foles for you. Is Nick Foles the backup quarterback for the Eagles next year? Carson Wentz, as nice as he is behind the scenes, that would never be allowed for obvious reasons. But it would be the right move.
I wouldn't mind it.
I wouldn't mind. I
feel way more comfortable with Nick here, to be honest. TJ is very confused on. He thought this was for subscribers of the website. There's nothing about picks here at all.
Who subscribed? Did somebody subscribe to? I guess yes, Jeff. See, they clicked that little red button down there for subscribe, so it is a subscription channel.
Yeah, I'm not TJ. Again, do me a favor.
Hit the unsubscribe down low.
No. Here's what I want TJ to do. TJ, listen. DM me on Twitter. Send me your receipt that you paid for the service.
And Jeff will do a personal 1-hour show for you.
No, and I'll direct them on where to go. Because, TJ, obviously you don't understand what we're doing here. So, listen, we're welcome. We're glad to have you here, but, relax, okay?
By the way, Jeff, I got to ask you a question because they're showing highlights right now. And we love Frank Reich. Like, I think he's a great coach. But I got to tell you, if I was a Colts fan, I'm screaming at Frank Reich for the past 4 weeks. For what reason? Why am I screaming at Frank Reich today?
Adam Vinatieri.
Yeah, well, dude, you can't be – loyalty is fantastic in sport, but you can't be loyal to a fault where your team's not going to make the playoffs because you like the kicker.
Yeah, listen, they did this with Chuck Pagano, and it hurt them. I've been on this soapbox for a while. Adam Vinatieri should have been cut weeks ago. You're losing games. You're not going to go to the playoffs because of Adam Vinatieri.
He lost another – he single-handedly lost the game yesterday for them.
Yes.
Single-handed.
Donnie, let's get to this game tonight. We got Vikings and Seahawks. Yeah. Listen, I thought the Seahawks were a bit exploitable last week. I thought they looked brittle on the offensive line as usual. Look, I love Russell Wilson, but that's about it. I don't love anything else they really do on offense. I think defensively they have some exciting things to be happy about, but Jadeveon Clowney, Donnie, as long as he's not in there, and I made if Jadeveon Clowney's not 100%, he's rolling at 70%. Yes, yep. Because I don't trust the secondary without Clowney. He makes them just so much better. He gets to the quarterback. He just makes life difficult. I like their linebackers and the secondary is okay, but I think they lucked out against the Eagles for what the Eagles were. And that was really, for me, when I played against the Eagles there, that was play against the Birds, not on the Seahawks. I think this team gets beat tonight. If you look at Seattle, that stadium is great.
Yeah.
But you know what they are against the number there this year, Donnie?
Yeah, I know.
1-4 against the spread. I don't look at that stadium like I used to look at that stadium. It's very great, very good stadium, one of the best in the league. But I think outside of the unbelievable, amazing plays from Russell Wilson, and I like Pete Carroll too, and there's some good things about them, but I think where it matters most in the trenches, right now I don't like them without Clowney, and I really don't like that offensive line. Danielle Hunter, some of those big boys up front. Also keep in mind, Minnesota, one of the better run defenses in the NFL. I like the way Cousins is playing. Diggs has been terrific. I like that run game. I really like Minnesota in this game.
You know, it's interesting when you take a look at Minnesota's schedule, Jeff. Coming off the bye, you got a great motivating head coach and a great game planner. So they're going to have that in check. You're not going to have Adam Thielen tonight, which is disappointing when it looked like he was going to come back for this game, but now he's going to sit out. Weather conditions not going to be a problem tonight, 35, 36 degrees. It'll be cool, but when the windy conditions, Jeff, are 1 or 2 mile an hour winds and no precipitation in Seattle, that's a win. And getting back to your point, Jeff, on looking at the team itself and how devastating a home field advantage it is. Do you know why it was a great home field advantage? Because A, they were a good football team, and D, their defense was incredible coupled with that noise. Now your defense is very average. The fans, when you yell, it doesn't knock a pass down or force make a tackle. It's the players on the field. So I do think there's going to be some opportunities because even as we look, Jeff, with the Minnesota Vikings without Thielen, Denver Broncos got a pretty good defense, Jeff, 27 points. Went on the road to play a hot Dallas Cowboys team at that time, put up 28 without him as well. Also, when you went on the road to Kansas City, you only lost that game by 3 points. Going back to Chicago, where they lost by 10 back in September, Chicago was playing much better football, especially even from a defensive perspective, but they're in every single football game. They're competent. And look, I'm going to go against the Seattle Seahawks again tonight along with you, Jeff. I think Minnesota can win this game. Preparation, I think they're good. They're used to – this isn't one of those games where you have the game, Jeff, and you say, you know what? Boy, damn, Adam Thielen went down in the second quarter, and he was a big part of the game plan. Their game plan is set up, so it's not a surprise that Adam Thielen is not playing in this game. I like the Vikings here. I do.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah. Well said. TJ, wow, I'm not trying to be insulting at all. It was a serious question, but whatever. I thought we responded quite fair to you, TJ. I'm not sure what your beef is here. I get you're confused. I'm not really sure what you're confused about, though. What is he confused about?
But he's just trolling. Come on.
Okay, is he?
Who would come in here and say something like that? No, and if you watch our show every day, which obviously
he pretty much knows that. Like I don't know.
You like to look at those comments and tell people about it. Yeah, come on, man.
Well, I'm trying to decipher whether he is or not. Like I'm not really sure.
Who would come in and ask what type of show is this without the picks? That means they never watched the Right Side of Campus ever, even though we've done like 1,000 shows together on it.
True. All right, we got to go. I got to do some another call here. I know Donnie's got some stuff to do as well. Donnie, we'll get into tomorrow a little college football. Who gets in? Who doesn't?
Yeah, we're gonna. When is the Is tonight the college football play? Tomorrow. So why don't we do that Wednesday then?
Yeah, we'll talk about all that stuff. We'll get into some college hoops as well. Donnie, Miami plays Illinois tonight. That's a lot of points to get Miami, no? Illinois is not, I don't think, worthy of
in what, college basketball?
Yeah, that's a lot of points to be getting if you're
by the way, started going over some games yesterday, Jeff, scheming some things out, getting the numbers back in order. And the one thing I like about Ken Palm is it doesn't update for like a couple hours on the final score. So you can still look at like the statistics before the game, cap it, and then actually see what happened in the game. I did that last night. I had some fun with it, man. I'm not going to lie.
DePaul and Temple should be ranked. That's a fucking joke that they're not ranked. DePaul is undefeated, and they're not ranked.
The rankings are a sham, man. It's just the whole process is a sham on that stuff.
Michigan goes to top 4.
From like out of nowhere, right?
They weren't even ranked. That's crazy. Michigan's very good. Juwan Howard's great. That was terrific what they did. But as far as Temple not being ranked, that's a laughable. But Tani, Temple's beating Davidson.
Mm-hmm. Bad too.
Yep. Texas A&M, USC. Next Saturday, Missouri coming in to Philadelphia, another SEC team.
Yep, beat them. They'll beat them too.
Keep doing your thing, TU. Fight for the cherry and the white. Listen, you know who's playing well for the Donnie?
Who?
Your boy.
Nate Pierre. Oh, wait. You know what?
Alani.
No, I didn't want you to say it. Yeah. I know he actually has a new look this year. I had to do like a double take to make sure it was him. I'm like, good for him, man. Good for him.
And listen, he has been terrific. compared to what he was last year.
Like he's an anchor last year. You put him in the game, like he would come in for shiz, and you'd have a 5-point lead, and then you're down 5. Like,
yeah,
my God, man,
he hurts you.
Yeah, wow,
that's what good coaching does, Donnie.
Yeah.
All right, we're out of here. You all have a great day. Thank you for watching. Donnie and I are going to go with Minnesota +3 tonight against the Seattle Seahawks. You all have a great night. Thank you for watching. We'll see you Tuesday. Bye bye.